Good morning everyone, it is bright and early on a Sunday morning and today I'm setting myself up for an entire day of filming and I've got a few updates to bring you on that front, and so I thought I'd do my makeup with you so we could have a little bit of a chat and a catch up, which I feel like is such an old school video now. I've not done something like that for a very long time, so I thought that's what we'd do first. So this is just my everyday makeup. I'll share with you the products I'm using and what I consider quite a minimal and natural look, using sort of as few products as possible to achieve the look I'm going for. And so I will start out with this, which is, oh look, it's so reflective, you can see my camera. So this is Clinique Almost Powder, and I've started using this to replace literally everything else skin-wise. I don't use a primer anymore, I don't use a concealer, I don't use a foundation, and I don't cover it with any sort of powder. I don't do setting powder, I don't do loose powder, I don't do pressed powder. This product does it all, which is just fabulous when you're tight of time like I am and you don't have time to do loads in the morning. And what you will see is the coverage of this is fab. My friend set me onto this back when I was, you know, caking my face in all sorts of makeup products and then complaining about how atrocious my skin was. She set me onto this and it did take a while. If you've not got great skin, like I had awful spots, then it's not going to be like a miracle that covers everything. But if you can get to a point where you can start to clear your skin, then it is great. On that front, I am now 6 months off any medication for my skin. So I did all the, you know, over-the-counter stuff, all the other sort of remedies, at-home things you can do. I've had bad skin since, well, I first started getting spots at 9. And, you know, people say they go away as you get older. I'm 32 now and still get spots. However, after literally decades of trying all of the other sorts of things, I finally caved and just went to the doctor. And, you know, I was with one of these people that was like, I'm not wasting the doctor's time over my vanity, over my skin, but you know what, I just caved in the end and I went. Someone on my channel actually recommended it, as well as people I know personally, and so I went and did it, and the first 6 months went great and really quickly cleared up my skin, but then as soon as I was off the medication it came back. So they gave me another 3 months, went again, it came back. So then I did another 3 months, so with some gaps, because they make you have gaps, or at least my doctor made me have gaps. So it took basically 12 months with gaps as well, so longer than 12 months to actually work. And now I stopped taking the medication 6 months ago and I've kind of just let my skin do its own thing. It's not perfect, I still get some spots, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was, which all was a result of coming off the pill a few years before. That's when it got really, really bad again. So it's nice that at least for the time being my skin has sort of settled, and now this is working. This is enough to just cover what I need and I don't feel like I need to chuck a whole load of products. And I think it's helping my skin that I'm not always using liquid products. There's no concealer and foundation, which means I suppose in a way it's less clogging. I have the shade 1 Fair because, you know, I'm pale. So that's what I do first, and then I go in with, this is a super cheap and cheerful from Boots little glow and define bronzer in number 10. So then I just go in with a little bit of contour, and this is what I use. So not only is this a minimal look, minimal number of products, it's also, I want to say, fairly minimal in cost. This is my most expensive product and I'm willing to spend a bit more on that because it does it all for me. And in some circumstances, I will just put that on and then go out like this. Depends where I'm going. This sort of everyday makeup look, I'm thinking like what I would do for work. Some of you may remember that over the years I was doing a project pan. I had, it must have been getting on for 100, if not more, makeup products, and I did a really big declutter to begin with. And then I was working on panning the rest, and we're there with that. I think I did that in my last makeup update. Like, the products I'm showing you today are all of my makeup products, with the exception of, I'm going to use my brown mascara today. I've also got a black one. And I've got 6 eyeshadow palettes that I'm still working through, and they have been the 6 eyeshadow palettes I've had for the entire time I've been making makeup videos. So they haven't panned very quickly, but everything else is completely done. So I actually did finish my project pan, which is great. It's nice to have that done and out of the way. Just go under here a little bit. We love giving the illusion of only one chin. But this is sort of just what I do every day. I'm not an expert by any means. I have just been doing my makeup the same way for years. I just sort of buff this out a bit. I don't like any harsh lines. And this is just sort of what works for me, and so I just kind of roll with it. Oh, whilst I remember, this was one of the videos that was requested on my channel, and I'm absolutely open to requests. Some people comment on the videos, some people prefer to send me DMs on Instagram, whatever works for you. I'm more than happy to sort of bring some of this old content if that's what you like to watch. So do just let me know. I had a request to do a garden update a year later. I've posted that on my channel now. I've had a few requests to do a jewellery update, so I'll film that at some point as well. And yeah, this was another one of the requests. But if there's anything else you want to see, whether it's new content, old school content, just let me know down in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. I'm more than happy to do that. Otherwise, I end up just posting the things that I feel like I want to talk about, which, you know, is great. It's part of what keeps the content moving. If I have fresh ideas, I suppose it's good that I bring those, but it's also nice to know what you want to watch and you want to hear. And I always feel like the videos that are the requested ones are the ones where I have better conversations with people in the comments and we can have a bit more of a chat, because I guess I'm leaning into your interests rather than just my own and the things I want to chatter on about. Next is blush, but I use my eyeshadow palette for that. So I've not bought a blusher or a highlighter for years because I realised you can just use up what's in your eyeshadow palette. This is Too Faced Natural Love, which is an eyeshadow palette. I have lost count of how many years I've had it for. It dates back to before my first YouTube video, I know that, so that's over 5 years ago. I probably want to say 7 or something, but I feel like last time I did a makeup video, which was probably just over a year ago, I probably said 7 then. So that's not great, and people do warn me against the dangers of expired makeup, but when an eyeshadow palette back in its time cost £56, my brain just wants to use up as much as possible. So for blush, I'm really bonkers in that I go in with this sort of hot pink one, but that's too much, that's too hot pink. So then we also go into these two, and I kind of just dib around them and get a mixture of the shades. And it just kind of works. So that's what I do there. So yes, please do below put any requests for any videos you want to see. You guys kind of know my theming, the sort of things I do like to talk about, but I'm open to discussing new ideas, so let me know. And I don't want to go overboard with this because I like it to be subtle. And then with a different brush, I've got 4 brushes. I go in with these 2, here and here, to create a highlight sort of colour. And just pop that around there. And down there. And that's all like the main face stuff done. Next is eyebrow gel. I use NYX Control Freak, and it's really interesting. I say interesting, I'm using the word interesting wrong. I have to use this, I say have to. I prefer to use this because despite the fact that I don't have a lot in the way of natural eyebrow hairs, you know, I was alive in the era where we tweezed them to nothing, so have never had an easy ride of getting my eyebrows back. Each of my eyebrow hairs are actually quite long, so if I don't put the gel in, they don't hold very well. So I put that in and then just give it a minute to set whilst I do other things. And then I've got a number 7 Intense Volume Mascara, which is in black brown. I prefer the softer sort of brown than the sharp black, but I will use black every now and then. But I just prefer this. So today I am doing all sorts of filming. I'm trying to sort of set myself out a filming schedule because I basically now have 3 YouTube channels. I don't know how that happened. I went from having my one that I was taking a break from, so essentially 0, to now having 3. And now I'm back at work again because I was off for the summer. Trying to work out how to fit that all in is quite a challenge. So I'm kind of doing all the filming over the weekends, or trying to, because that means I can use evenings to edit, and it kind of doesn't matter whether I'm coming straight from work or coming straight from the gym and I'm all like in gym clothes or whatever. I can edit without having to, you know, stop and make myself look presentable to be on camera. So it's a big old day of filming today. So obviously there's my main channel, which you're here, you know about that one. But I also have created a channel where I'm sharing, it's in its very early days, I'm sharing tips and tricks about caring for rabbits, which is something I've thought about in the past, but you know, when you're sort of a beginner to something, you're not the person to necessarily be sharing tips and tricks. But my buns are 4.5 years old now, and I've learned a lot along the way, and it's just something I wanted to do. I like kind of creating fun and somewhat educational content, and so I figured that could be a way to go with that. Plus they're so cute. So I've started doing that, and that is mostly shorts, and I also post them as TikToks. It's actually doing much better on TikTok, I think probably because it caters more for that short form content. But over on YouTube I'm also doing like bunny cam videos, because I can just sit there. I've got a Ring camera in my bunny's room, and whenever I'm not there, I can just check in on them to make sure they're okay. Sorry, this is NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen in soft brown, and I can just sit there absolutely mesmerised, and I see them all the time, and they're just so sweet to watch and sort of see what they do when they're in their sort of natural state of calm. So not when, you know, I'm rushing around in and out feeding them and tidying up, just when they are actually left on their own and they don't realise anyone's watching. They're so adorable to watch. And then I was at my mum and dad's a couple of weeks ago, and my sister was visiting with her partner and her 2 children. Her older one, my niece, who some of you may remember when I was talking in a Vlogmas video when she was born. She's 3 now, and my sister has since had a little boy who is 7 months, nearly 8 months old. Anyway, so my niece, she just sits watching animal videos on YouTube, and again, she is just mesmerised watching the animals sort of playing and doing what they do. So my mum and my sister suggested also that I do something with my rabbits. Now, I did think about going down the avenue of making it more like children's videos, but I don't think I've got it in me to like put little voices to my animals, and I know you can do AI and stuff, but I just don't think I've got that in me. So, and you know, there's plenty of adults out there that like to watch videos of animals. And I remember back when I used to watch April the giraffe. I can't remember where it was. I believe it was somewhere in America. She was in a zoo and they were waiting for her to give birth. And the amount of time I checked in on that to see what was going on. And my mum watches the ones that are in the bird boxes. I think they're on Facebook, especially in the spring when they're nesting and whatnot. Oh, speaking of which, a big bird just flew past my window. And so I thought, you know what, I'll do it. I'll give it a go. So I do shorts that are kind of more informative, and then just bunny cam 30-minute videos. So if ever anyone feels like they just need a chilled 30 minutes and want something completely non-stressful, calm, with sort of soothing music in the background, I just put my camera on my bunnies and let it film. And then I just put this unbroken 30-minute footage into a video and put it online. And so that's another thing I'm doing. So filming content for that. And then Tom and I have decided to go on a completely different direction, which is actually more relevant to us and our work. Sorry, I keep forgetting. This is NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in Soft Spoken. Do you remember when we used to know the names of all our makeup products? Yeah, so Tom and I have decided to go down a sort of online, not quite tutoring sort of thing, but like creating educational videos for GCSE aged pupils, or I suppose adults as well, sitting GCSEs. It's really hard to do your lips and talk at the same time, bear with. But again, that is in very early days too, but hopefully that can become something more. When that sort of becomes a bank of resources, then maybe we can explore that as a project further, but again, very early days. So busy in terms of that sense, but it's all like sort of things I like doing, so that's good. Last thing, we're still in the summer, so of course it's Glossier Ultra Lip in Portrait, my favourite pink shade. And this is what we finish on. So with all that going on, I've barely had time for anything else. So there's not much else going on in life at the moment, personally. It's all just work, filming, editing, trying to enjoy hobbies in the meantime, and that's about it. Oh, I have got to go to the dentist and have my wisdom teeth taken out, so I'm not really looking forward to that. They've been being a bit of a pain of late, so I got that referred, and yeah, they're coming out, so definitely wish me luck with that one. But that is it. That is my current everyday minimal makeup look. You've seen the products I use, and that's that. It was nice to have a sit down and a bit of a catch up and a life update. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to put your requests down below so I know the sort of content you want to see coming up soon. And I'll leave this one here. Remember to give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe for more content. If you're sticking around to watch another video, I can pop one right here that I think you might enjoy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye.